It's Monday, June 6th, 2011. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight, warm today, so we talk about cooling your computers.
Let's do this.
And of course, my goddamn bike got stolen.
Yep.
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 I can't say
The
100%.
most bike stealingest city around.
Oh my god, it's the most bike stealing in the city. Even the cops were like, yeah, there's like this professional ring of bike thieves.
Now, I don't understand that, right? I mean, if you're a professional thief,
Scott,
why
you steal
bicycles?
Think about how easy it is. I mean, you've seen those performance guys who basically go and very openly and sometimes loudly
right, but
steal
there
bikes.
isn't that much money in bicycles.
Yeah, there is.
How much money could there
All right,
be?
you steal a relatively new, nice, like not a fancy, like super racing bike, like a nice bike that costs like $500,000. You can easily sell that.
$500,000.
$500 to $1,000. You can easily sell that for a few $100, and it basically costs you nothing.
Yeah, but there are many other things you could steal that is much better off than
Like
bicycles.
what? That most things like that are higher risk and are more difficult to fence. I mean, it's not
Credit card numbers.
Yeah, and you know what? People steal those all the time.
I'm just
In
saying,
fact,
yeah.
there's probably competition in the credit card thievery market.
I'm just saying.
They're also kind of
much more
difficult to
lucrative.
use. And if you're not already, in the good with Russian hackers, you're some street punk, what are you going to do? Dealing drugs is likely to get you arrested. There's no way anyone will ever arrest you stealing a bike.
Jewelry.
Who are you going to steal jewelry from? And more importantly, who the fuck are you going to sell jewelry to? Jewelry has almost no resale value.
Sell it to all those guys. You ever walk down like the jewelry street and they're always like, we buy gold? And you think, who the hell would walk down that street to sell gold?
Jewelry thief.
That's right.
Yeah.
The jewelry thieves are much better off than the bike thieves.
There's not that much jewelry to steal. I mean, it's not like people leave their jewelry tied up to posts on the street.
You'd be surprised where people keep the jewelry.
Would I really?
Yeah.
What amazes me, though, is that, I was careful with my bike. Like, I knew that the city is just a fucking, den of thieves. I knew this.
Mm-hmm.
So I never rode my nice bike unless it was gonna, I would never leave it out of my sight for any, length of time. Like, if I knew I'd be in a store for more than, 15 minutes, I wouldn't use my nice bike. I was in the Home Depot less than 10 minutes.
That's too long.
Yeah, and they stole it in that time. There were cops visible, 50 feet away, who didn't notice anything. Huge crowds, broad daylight.
Well, of course, they couldn't notice because it was in the middle of a huge crowd.
Yeah.
If it was quiet and there were cops 50 feet away, they would have seen it because they'd been the only person to look at.
Yep. But what was very funny is that Emily's bike was chained to my bike. They didn't steal hers.
No, because it's a piece of crap.
I did.
How'd you get home, Subway?
Yeah, Subway. Well, since we went to the Home Depot and they wanted $25 to deliver the one thing we wanted to buy. So we were like, fuck it, we'll just go get it later. And then my bike was stolen, so since I didn't have my bike, Emily just biked home, and I went back into the Home Depot and bought the thing and carried it home on the Subway. The cashier was even like, you really needed this pegboard, didn't you? And I was like, nah, my bike got stolen. And she's like, oh, so you might as well. I'm like, yeah, I might as well. She was cool.
Yeah, actually, mad props to Home Depot. I saw a video recently.
Oh, yeah.
Of, it was some crazy right-wing nut job, and he was like, I called up the Home Depot because they were donating to gays.
Now, usually when something like this happens, the story is always, and the company quietly backed down and made some non-committal statement and blah, blah, blah.
And he's like, they said they support diversity, and we got to, so we got boycott Home Depot because they're going to hell. It was something along those lines, and I was like, yeah, Home Depot, that's right.
Yeah, Home Depot basically said, you know what? We're totally okay with gay people, and we don't really need your business that much, so go nuts.
I think Home Depot's going to be all right, because it's actually, hardware is one of the few things that, is, online isn't always going to be able to beat it out, right? I mean,
Nope.
I buy hardwares online from, screwdriver, a level.
Small amounts of wood, I'm not going to buy online because wood is very non-uniform. If I'm buying 3 pieces of wood for a small project, I want to see the pieces of wood and buy them.
Yeah, but it's not just wood. It's there's all kinds of stuff that...
Grout?
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff that, especially if you're doing a hardware project, right? like you're remodeling your house or you're building something.
Yep.
It's like you might be like, oh shit, I need X, and you need X like now.
And
Otherwise,
it's always
you have
something
to.
really specific.
And it's like you can't be waiting 3 days.
And you always have the instinct. You're like, I wonder if I could use these other 3 tools to make something that would almost do that thing. And
Or
it never
this,
works
or there's a
out.
situation like you need to replace a screw because you stripped it, and now you go and you're like, you go online and you're like, okay, I don't need it right away. Let's see, I need a this inches screw, and a thing of screws shows up and they're slightly off. You're like,
Yep.
fuck.
You're like, you're trying to
But
look at the one time. I remember one time I was looking at pictures of screws on Amazon.
Good job.
And trying to figure out if the threading was the same as the screw. I was like holding
It's-
up to the monitor.
It's like, no, you just got to go to the hardware store and put the screw, hold the screw up next to the example screw and look at
I
it.
hate going to hardware stores though,
Why?
because every time I'm in a hardware store, the geek comes out and wants just random stuff. I think like, oh, electronics. I wonder if I could, HDMI cables, HDMI ports to put in my wall. Maybe I should replace all my Cat 6 with Cat 7. And then I end up in like the nail gun area just thinking like, yeah, it'd be really fun to have this for like 15 minutes.
Sure would.
What was that XKCD where the guy buys a house? He's like, oh, I can do whatever I want. If I want to drill a hole through this wall, I can just do it. And then he drilled his house down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I also ran a race right before my bike got stolen, the first time in almost a decade.
Uh-huh.
I ran
Did
in
you
a
win?
charity. No, of course not. Are you kidding? It's New York. The most podunk race. You could have like 5-year-old kid charity run for autistic Alzheimer's, and some marathon runner will show up and win it.
So what place did you come in?
I came in 80th out of like 1,300 people,
All right.
which is not too bad. And in my age class, gender and age, 20 to 29-year-olds, so I'm at the top of that age class, I came in like 20th.
Uh-huh.
And I came in like 60th.
They really track all this data. This is pretty
Well,
interesting.
get this. So here's how they do it.
You wear a number. They write your information
No,
down.
no.
Then
So
they put your time and your number, and then the computer figures
race
the rest.
technology is actually really nice. You wear the number. Number is basically just for photo verification after the fact. But really, they give you this big RFID thing that you put on your shoe.
Uh-huh.
And it tracks when you cross the start line and cross the finish line. And
Wait a minute. So why don't I wave it at the start line, get on a motorcycle, and wave it at the finish line?
they'd notice.
I could get off the motorcycle like a mile before the end.
It's only a 5K run. It was like 3 and a something miles.
Right. So I go the 2 miles on the bike.
It was in Central Park. It wouldn't have worked.
It was just completely in Central Park?
Yeah.
I probably could have done that. I probably wouldn't have been at 80th place. I would have been more like
I was
100th place.
I was proud of myself, but I also realized I'm old because the proud part came that I started the front. Like I started with the people who were trying to win, which I'd never done in a race before because usually people are stupid.
And they all disappeared.
Well, remember that Chase Corporate Challenge we did? That was the last race I ran.
All right.
And remember how we all stood at like the 6-minute mile mark? Because we're like, yeah, 6-7 minutes, we can do this. And then everyone near us was actually in the 15-minute miles, and they just were stupid and stood in the wrong place. And it took like 10 minutes for us to even get going.
Yep.
But I started in the very front, and I ran with the lead pack all the way past the first mile. And then the fact that I didn't eat breakfast, I was late to the race, so I biked over there really hard, parked, and ran right away. And I chugged a Red Bull right before. Caught up with me. And that Red Bull
Red Bull was supposed to help you.
Yeah, the Red Bull helped me in
It was
the
only
first mile.
It was only 3Ks. The Red Bull should have helped you the whole way.
The Red Bull helped me in the first mile. The stomach not so happy in the second mile.
You should have brought 2 more Red Bulls.
I should have just vomited and then kept running, but no.
You could have pooped and kept running too.
Pooping wouldn't really have done it. It wasn't at the poop stage.
Uh-huh.
But so almost a decade ago, I ran a 3.5-mile race, and my time ended up being like 22 minutes, almost exactly. This time, a decade later, ran the same race after having trained and run rigorously for a decade.
Yep.
22 minutes.
Yep.
So
You know, the winner's time was probably like 12 minutes.
17.
Oh, really? For 3?
Yeah.
Oh,
3 back-to-back 5-6-minute miles is actually pretty tough to do.
I know, but usually it's like the people who are like the best in the world, they run 4-minute miles, right? So if they're, you
Yeah,
figure,
but 4-minute mile, 1 mile. Run 3 of those.
yeah, there are people who run multiple 4-minute miles.
No. Those
Anyway.
people don't show up to every race.
Anyway.
But I realized I peaked probably somewhere in between there. And I'm basically, by working so hard, I am maintaining the fitness level I had when I was 20. Which is both optimistic and pessimistic. But optimism reigns because at the 3-mile mark, when there's like a half mile to go, the oldest dude you can imagine just flew right fucking by me.
Yeah.
That guy was like 70.
I think I've seen that guy.
And he had an old man run. Like he was kind of shuffling, but he was shuffling faster than I was running.
It either might be the same guy I see or a similar guy, because when I bike sometimes in the morning down 2nd Avenue or whatever avenue it is to go south, there's sometimes an old guy running north who's way old, but he's fucking running. And I'm like, damn, look at that guy. I've seen him like 3 or 4 times.
Man, when I bike to work, there's always one super homeless guy with a giant shopping cart full of homeless guy stuff. And he must have a commute because he's always coming up the Queensboro Bridge at the exact same time every morning.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he commutes to Queens to do whatever hobos do.
There's a lot of people I see daily, just like you just see them doing the same path on the street. Like there's this one guy who comes over the Queensboro Bridge in the mornings, and basically he's some sort of worker in a building of some sort, because he's wearing
like almost everyone.
He's wearing that some sort of building works for the building, like superintendent uniform kind of thing.
I heard you got
and. Basically, this guy has the hunchest hunch. Like he doesn't have a hunch like his back, has a big blob on it. He has a hunch like he's like literally bent over and he's like flimsy like a Twizzler. It's like if you're holding a Twizzler and you let it droop over. That's what this guy looks like.
Well, now you got something to work toward.
Yeah, right? I don't think it can possibly end up that bad.
So it's Monday. And, there's a lot of tech news, but we probably have to talk about jobs.
Yep, it's Apple Day today, which seems to always occur a lot on Mondays. I guess it's just, coincidence that we do our tech show on Monday and Apple does Mondays also. I don't know.
Well, clearly Apple is emulating us.
But anyway,
they want to make sure the releases come, so we report on them in a timely manner.
If you just want all the information, you can go to Engadget and read it all. But I just want to hit some high notes and provide some insights that I don't think other people have, right?
Oh.
First major insight, OS X Lion, right?
Yep.
Regardless of any features it's adding.
The pricing is the story.
No, it's not.
No?
No, you're wrong.
Okay.
It's $30, but that's not a big deal because actually, if you remember, Snow Leopard was also similarly lowly priced.
Well, this is $30 for every Apple PC you own.
That's true. That's slightly better.
Yeah.
But are you ready for the real
All right,
story?
what do you think is the real story here?
You can only buy OS X Lion in the OS X App Store.
I didn't even notice that.
And why is that a big deal? Well, you think, it's not a big deal.
Well, there's that lawsuit where Apple's trying to claim that the App Store is a mark of theirs because Apple App Store as opposed to app
see,
application.
you're missing it.
I'm saying that's one thing.
No, what is the biggest problem with OS X Lion only being available in the Mac OS X App Store?
It's harder to, pirate.
It's impossible to get it, say, in VirtualBox or make a Hackintosh or anything because there's no DVD. There's no USB stick. There's no nothing. The only way you can get it is if you already have a Mac that already has the Mac App Store. There's no other way to get it. We won't be able to install it on anything other than a Mac that already comes with it.
So, I have a Hackintosh running Snow Leopard.
Is it going to upgrade?
That's what I'm curious about.
I'm very curious.
Because that's the only way.
That's the only way.
Well, no. That's the second only way. The real only way is some hacker's going to come up with a way.
I have a feeling that maybe they're going to come up with some Snow Leopard upgrade to Lion trick, but one or two more versions down the road, they're not going back, right? I think it's going to be total SOL.
Well, I think there are many reasons Apple is doing this. I do agree now that yours is probably the primary reason, but... It worries me. It's not just that in general, people are really, it's like the PC world is going through the same thing it went through, 10, 20, 30 years ago. The same cycles happen where suddenly they're becoming very, it's like this app thing is happening where people people are downloading apps for their Androids and their iPhones the same way that people used to go to CNET and download shareware.
Yep.
As opposed to installing
Only now they're
software.
paying money.
Yeah.
Because everything in the Mac world always costs money, and those things that cost money in the Mac world are free everywhere else. Right? It's like, you owe a Mac. Oh, you want to develop for the Mac, right? Well, you can sort of buy this Mac developer thing for $100, and you can buy Xcode for $10.
Oh, shit,
Oh, you
son.
want to develop something for Windows? Here's Microsoft Visual Studio Express for free.
You got an emulator, but you want to use your fancy controller with it? Well, there's an app that'll do that.
Yeah. Oh, it's just, everything on Apple's platforms costs money that's free everywhere else. All right, let's continue down this road, right? iOS 5 greatly improved, right? Integrated Twitter.
The notification
right?
thing, which...
Notifications
here's
vastly
what bothers
improved.
me. Android is, I really like Android. I have no complaints about my phone. But notifications on Droid are just so like 10 years ago.
Are they really? Because they really can't be worse than they are in the iPhone now. With
the
iOS.
iPhone is similarly bad.
Yeah.
So,
but this looks like a winner here.
So you know what the real winner is in that front? WebOS. WebOS to this day has the best notification system I have ever seen.
Yep, I agree.
And it beats even the new iOS notification center.
Yep. They're also bringing out this integrated Twitter, like integrated into the iOS Twitter,
which is great.
Competing with the Palm Pre there also, right?
Yep, because Palm Pre, the only other good thing it had going was that messaging other than Twitter was completely integrated.
Yep. Speaking of messaging, iMessage, which is like, what the fuck? It's like a messenger that you can only use to message with other people on iOS. It's competing with definitely BBM, right? As opposed to, say, anything else. But it's like, why don't they just put fucking iChat on iOS? Boom, done. And what's so weird, right, is why would they put iMessage, right? Which is a messaging system where you could only message between Apple devices on the iOS, but meanwhile, iChat has support where you can add more modules to it, allowing iChat to chat with anything that has a module. It's like they opened up the iChat and they closed down with this weird-ass iMessage bullshit on the iOS. I don't understand what they're doing there.
I don't know. I actually don't have anything on that one.
Yeah. Anyway, let's see what else we got. So another thing is most of the features that they announced, right? Almost all of them, right, have two things in common, right? Or fall into one or both of two categories, right? First category is something typical from Apple. They act like it's new and it's 100 years old.
Yep.
Right?
Well, iCloud. We'll sync all your shit.
Not that. I'm talking about things like we added full screen support. Whoa, and that was like a big deal, like full screen. And it's like, welcome to DOS. Welcome to the Apple II. Everything was full screen, but they're acting like it's a big deal, right? They're acting. When they come up with a new feature, they treat it as if they have invented something, when really what they've done is they had you locked up this whole time, and they've removed one pair of handcuffs, but they pretend like they've created something new, and really all they've done is release a lock on you.
Which, in a way, I mean, can you fault them for it? It works really, really well.
I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm just saying it's like you got to see through that shit. You got to come before that, It's like they just, what they're adding in OS X Lion? The ability to resize a window by grabbing it on any edge instead of just the bottom right.
Whoa,
Hello?
you know what? Wait, Scott. They're way ahead of a default unconfigured FEWM now. Watch out.
I mean, it's just like when they added spaces and they acted like it was a big deal. It's like, I've only been using virtual desktop since 1985 on my Amiga.
Hey, to be fair, Windows doesn't have fucking virtual desktops.
Well, that's because Windows is fucking retarded, but actually, the Windows 8 sort of has virtual desktops. Sorta. I mean, effectively doesn't really need them with that interface. And props to Microsoft, because if you looked at the new Xbox interface that they showed at E3 today, they're giving all their stuff that Windows Phone 7 interface.
Which is not, I actually like it as an interface.
It's not so bad, and whether you like it or not, I like being uniform across everything with the same interface. That's good. That's a good move.
Simultaneously, I'm sure that for a long time, if you do need some other interface for whatever reason, the good old Windows thing will be there, because corporate people lose their shit, even if consumers don't care.
The other category of things that they added were features that somebody else was adding, and they're basically eating someone else's lunch, right? Which is, I think we talked about this recently on Geeknights, where it's like, if you build...
with the Twitter apps.
If you build something on someone else's platform, and then they end up basically making you useless, right? You can't complain, right? And Apple did a whole bunch of that. Like, there was that iPhone app that used one of the volume buttons to snap the picture, and Apple said no. And now what are they adding? The default camera program. You can press the button to take a picture. It's like, there's so many. There was like a whole list of someone made a funny list of all the different like third-party apps that are now useless because those features have been integrated into iOS or OS X.
It's really interesting to me. Look at the culture of computing now. That there was a time when, I mean, the majority of apps in any app store, Android, WebOS, iOS, whatever, are trivial apps. They're the kind of thing any competent developer could write in like an afternoon at most.
Yep.
And they basically do almost nothing. And in the old days, stuff like that was at worst, shareware, where they're like,
like
hey,
WinZip.
Yeah. Or they were
before Windows allowed you to unzip in itself.
Yeah, or they were, various forms of freeware where
That's
where
actually a
people would
great
say,
example because now WinZip is not needed anymore because Windows has its own unzip. But you still need 7-zip because some morons have RAR files.
Yep, but now we have this culture where people will write these tiny, meaningless apps that do this tiny, tiny thing, but because the platforms are kind of closed and it's not super obvious how to install stuff, side-loaded, if you even can in certain situations. And these people all want to charge $1 for it, and then they get indignant when someone else implements the thing that they want $1 for free because it took them 10 minutes to implement it.
Yeah, but at the same time, these are all things that should have been in there already, right?
Yeah, that's a separate problem.
Yeah, there was a great article, which is totally true, that said, hey, look, if you want to write an app for a platform, right, don't write something that adds a feature the platform is missing. You need to write anything. If you want to try to make money doing apps, you need to write something that is vertical, right? For example, Apple is never going to ever create build into iOS, right, like a calculator for physicists, right? Like a special physicist thing, right? So if you write something that is for physicists and is not for the general populace, then it's never going to be part of iOS. Your app will always have a home there, right? But if you do something that's adds a missing feature to iOS, well, that feature might no longer be missing anymore. Anyway, and lastly, I guess we got to talk about the iCloud, right? So they came so close with this, right? What I've always wanted, right, for 10 years, 20 years, 100 years, is why do I have to plug my iPod into fucking computers?
I don't. My Android syncs everything over the wireless.
It sure does.
And it's great.
It sure does. But, so the iOS, with the iCloud, they've done a whole bunch of really good stuff. In some ways beats the Android, and in some ways doesn't, right?
Yep.
In some ways, it's great. You're going to be able to just update. If they want to update the OS, it just updates, just like Android. You want to update apps, they just update. All good, over the air, no problem.
Yep, all
right?
the
Very
syncing
good.
just works.
If you want to sync, right, you can sync with iTunes using the Wi-Fi, so it finds your computer with iTunes running and syncs to it. That's pretty good.
Granted, I don't want to have to even do that. I still want to just run iTunes on my iPhone.
So you can do that too, right? So
Yeah.
if you buy a song, right, then that song, it knows in the database on the cloud that you bought that song, and any iTunes up to 10 devices that you have will just have that song. They'll already have
the
it.
Amazon store, it's just an MP3, and any device I have can download it infinity times.
Right, but this is the difference between can download infinity times and is already downloaded, right? You see what they did there? It's like if I buy a song on my phone and I listen to it, and then I go and I pick up my iPad and I push the iPod icon and the song is in the library already. That's a step up.
Oh, you mean like my phone can do with Droid?
Can it really do that?
Yeah,
like if you buy a song in the Amazon store, and then you go sit at your computer, that song will already be on your computer on the hard drive.
So to make it go on the hard drive, I believe I have to do something funny.
You have to. It saves a click, basically. It's one click more.
But the one nice thing is, it is almost never that I am not connected to the internet.
That's true.
So as a result, I leave it all in the cloud and just download it as I want it. And if I'm going to go on a trip where I think I'm going to go out of cell service, like on my phone, I can just be like, download all these albums to my phone right now, and then delete them when I'm done.
Yep. But anyway, so they didn't say anything about the podcast, how that was going to work. We'll see if it works or not. That's a big deal for me, at least. I don't know about for other people. But anything you buy on iTunes will do that. Also, if you take, say, a photo or a document, it'll be saved in the cloud, and then all your other Apple devices will have it downloaded,
So unintended consequence, and this is something my Droid doesn't do.
Yep.
There have been a ever-increasing number of stories about police officers doing bad things and then destroying people's cameras or freaking out when they get filmed or whatever. Auto-syncing pictures and videos to the cloud is going to make it a lot harder for cops to get away with stuff like that.
Oh, it's a good thinking. I wasn't even thinking along those lines. That's a great idea.
Yeah, I want that for Android. I want the option of just sending video I take as soon as is possible to some cloud server.
Well, that's what it does. So along all those lines, they vastly improved this situation in the way I wanted to. But there's one problem, which is this whole deal with the music iTunes Match. Have you read about this?
Yeah, well,
so here's how it works.
Everyone's got something like this now.
Well, no, here's the way it works, right? With Google or Amazon Cloud, right? If let's say I have a CD I ripped or music I pirated from the Pirate Bay, and I want to, sync it in the cloud. Well, with Google or Amazon, I can just upload it to the cloud.
Yep.
And that's it. Even if it's pirated, they don't give a shit.
Yep. Theoretically, Google claims to have the right to remove pirated material if they
Sure.
prove it's pirated. Amazon just says whatever, as far as I can
They
tell.
don't care. So what Apple's doing is they got one angle on it, which is technological. That's a pretty good angle, but the other angle, which is anti-piracy, is a bad angle, right? So the good angle is this: you don't have to actually upload the music, which could admittedly take a long time if you're not like Rim with the FiOS, right? At my house, it would take forever. And instead, what they'll do is you pay $25 a year, which is pricing that I like. That's my Scott's kind of pricing. I'll pay that shit.
Double digits per year is pretty much what I want to pay for everything.
Yeah. And then they will scan your music collection, and it will see, using whatever logic it wants, if any of your music matches music that's in iTunes. And if the music's in iTunes, then it will put that iTunes music, make that available to you via the iCloud.
So
if I buy a CD in the store and I rip it and I have iTunes scan it for $25 a year, then all that music from not the music from the CD, but the music from iTunes would basically be added to my account, sort of.
So I take my whole CD collection, run it through, and then sell my CD collection for like $5 to someone who does the same thing.
Right. Now, here's what I'm waiting for. When is somebody going to figure out how to fool this matching system? And there'll be a thing you can get from Pirate Bay that gives you every song on iTunes. That'll be awesome for $25 a year.
Yeah, and then we'll see what Apple does.
That's
when
right.
That happens.
But how awesome would that be, though? Right? That's what they should do. Is they should just be like, look, $25 a year, you get everything. That's what they should do. Because who would not pay the $25 a year? They could make it $100 a year.
I would pay that.
Who would not pay $500 a year?
I would pay $500 a year
for all
to have
the music in iTunes, 100% of it, anytime you want on any device.
Hell, you know what? I would even pay that if there was a separate higher tier, you had to pay for that to get basically music that's new isn't in the lower tier for even 6 months. Who cares?
The thing is, I realize the vast majority of the music I have is not in iTunes. It's like, really, they're gonna have, it's
well, I mean,
foreign
the My
music.
Little Pony soundtrack isn't even available yet.
Yeah, but it's like Creative Commons music, foreign music, old weird music.
Yep.
I got
a lot of Jamendo music, which is all free.
None of that is in there. But the thing is, it's still worth it if you have just 25 songs a year. So in the second year, you would need 50 songs. But if you have that many songs that are not in iTunes, then it's worth it to pay for it. And I'm sure everyone here has at least a few hundred songs that would match. If you have that many that match, it's worth it to pay the $25 a year for many years. So I'll probably end up paying it, even though I'm waiting for them to use this data from scanning people's music collections. They could use it in good ways and bad ways. Bad ways, detecting piracy.
Yep.
Good ways would
figuring
be
out what's actually popular.
figuring out what's popular. Hey, look at this. We've noticed the Super Eurobeat in hundreds of. What is up with all these people with Super Eurobeat in the U.S.?
Loitema, who's that?
Yeah, what the fuck is this Lloyd? Oh, maybe we should add that to the iTunes, and maybe they could do good thing. And then what would happen as soon as they added it to iTunes, then it would start, everyone who had it would hit a match, right? So that'd be pretty good. But yeah, they were 90% of the way there, but they're not 100% of the way there. 100% of the way there would be, let me upload my obscure music into the cloud and don't worry, ignore my pirating ways.
Oh, Amazon, maybe Google.
Now, but the thing is, the iOS isn't going to work so well with the Amazon and the Google.
Yep. Look, your Latitude barely even works.
No, the Latitude works.
It doesn't. You're not on, ever.
What do you mean I'm not on?
You disappeared a while ago.
What? I'm on. What are you talking about?
In fact, it doesn't even show where you are right now.
What? I gotta go check.
That's what you get for using an Apple product.
Anyway.
So I'm sure everyone's aware of lulzsec, and I love lulzsec.
Oh, cool. How could you not?
Because they're nothing. They're no one, and yet people think they're someone, but yet they're doing things.
No
but there's
shit.
no one doing things. And
it's like the cult of the dead cow.
Yep, it's great. But one tiny thing that came out of lulzsec that I do want to point out is that they're basically attacking everybody, and they went after Nintendo. Nintendo said on Sunday over the weekend that they'd been hacked, but that no company or customer information was compromised at all.
What were they going to compromise?
Well, and this is why I say props to you, Nintendo. You have avoided being attacked by lulzsec in any substantial way by not actually having any online services.
Yeah. What are they supposed to attack?
I mean, they don't even keep your credit card. You got to type the fucking number in every time you buy anything.
I know. The one thing, though, is, these hacks against Sony and whatever are all trying to get personal data. And this is the one thing that still bothers me, even though it's a step up from what we had before, right, where people just try to hack you to make botnets.
Well, no, before I would hack my friends and then open their CD tray while we were playing Quake.
Right. No,
thus
but the
distracting
point
them
is,
and then sniping them.
people have just been hacking for profit, right? Now they're hacking to embarrass companies and get personal information, right? Where are the people who are hacking maliciously? I want to see, don't, when you hack Sony, right? You shouldn't be getting their personal information and shaming them. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
It's also
How about
probably
I
the
got
best
a
they
better
could do.
idea. I got a better idea. Why don't you make all the games free for everybody? That would be awesome, right? Do that and I'll be fucking impressed. And next time you hack some people's computers, don't just, put some keylogger on there and try to get their passwords to their Facebooks, right? How about you erase the fucking hard drive like a badass? Because nobody wants to do that shit anymore.
Remember, there's no hierarchical organization. lulzsec and things like it are just the simulacra coming out of the internet, the id of the internet, the collective movement of individual actors all together, Ghost in the Shell, blah, blah, blah. Most people, despite all appearances, are not total dicks.
Here's what, there was that recent Mac thing, Mac Defender, right? What they should have done, they should have made the Mac Defender, right? If you got it, then it would try to, Mac defend or offend all the Macs nearby for a certain amount of time, and then destroy the Mac that it's on. And then that would cause Apple so much trouble. Oh, it would be so glorious. I just want to see someone do something really malicious and really damaging. Not because I wish ill upon people, right? But because it's possible,
Scott,
but it hasn't occurred.
Counter argument.
And I want to see what happens.
Counter argument.
All right.
Is that not the same thing, aside from the we actually want to see it, that we say about terrorism? Smart engineers could cause terrorism trivially if they wanted to.
But
It'd be
this
so
doesn't-
easy to do.
right.
But no one does it.
But
why? The same reason nobody deletes some poor old guy's computer for no reason.
Because the people who are capable of doing so are not evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
lulzsec and things like it. Look at the way that I keep wanting to call them organizations because we don't have good words for these things. When things like this, when simulacra like this, egregores like this go out and do stuff, they're a collective will. The collective will seems to be primarily concerned with funny pictures of cats,
Yep.
making people angry without hurting them substantially,
Yep.
and being socially activist for the things that geeks and nerds care about.
Yep.
So those things together mean shame a company like Sony, because Sony is a long history of being dicks about things like DRM.
Still, I would really like to see, the
I'd
sort
rather
of
see-
science fiction story of geeks conquer the world, basically hold the world for ransom, we're in charge now, all evil politicians, you have 5 hours
So
to
Scott,
get the fuck out.
in high school,
Nerds rule now.
I don't even know if I have it. It's probably on one of those dead hard drives. I wrote a short story that I didn't finish.
That was about that?
It was about that. It was for a class, like the beginning of it, and then I tried to finish it, and then I don't know what happened to it.
All right.
But the premise was
Needs a movie.
the premise was that the internet one day declares sovereignty. Like imagine 4chan declaring sovereignty
Yep.
and demanding a seat at the UN.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, everyone ignores it. And then, like a month later,
Declares war on the world.
it gives an ultimatum. And when that is ignored, obviously, a shopping cart full of gallon jugs of milk gets simultaneously thrown into every intersection of every major city in the world.
I know you love that one. Because
that's my example.
The gallon jugs of milk. That's your favorite.
And then the internet announces that it did that and that it wants to, and then, it all goes from there.
Yep.
Anyway. But anyway, that was a while. Things of the day. So there's a movie that Scott loves that I had not seen, Emily had not seen until recently. Robert Redford, Paul Newman, about a con man. It's like everything Rim likes in a movie. I can't believe I hadn't seen this movie.
I kept telling you to watch it, but you took so long.
Yeah, well, we watched it
You
now.
should do what I say immediately.
The Sting is a fantastic movie, and if you like heist movies, it's way up there.
Well,
and also,
it's a con. It's not a heist.
yeah. Well, the thing is a con not simply a form of heist?
No, it's
Because
not.
it has all the elements of a heist movie. The big gang that gets together to do the really complex payoff event.
But they're not robbing something. They are tricking a person. Right? It's a heist is about the physicality of breaking into some hardened structure. It's about buildings and architecture and explosives and drills like in Die Hard, right? But a con is all about trickery and manipulation and acting and putting on disguises and all that sort of stuff. It's the execution of it is a completely different skill set, completely
Well, anyway,
level.
the movie's great. And I'm if you've watched any number of movies, you'll figure out what the fullness of the whole thing is, and it's pretty good. If you've read The Lives of Locke Lamora, I'm pretty sure Scott Lynch saw this movie and cribbed from it.
No.
It's too close.
You don't say.
And 3, it'll give you a ton of inside jokes. 4, we almost watched this other movie called Alphaville that many people have seen and commented on how they should watch it in Netflix. Don't watch it.
We couldn't finish it, so who knows what happens.
Here's the plot.
I'll probably finish it at some point.
Yeah,
but
because I want to know what the deal is. But the plot is as such. There's a really hard-boiled detective guy, reporter.
No, he works for a newspaper.
Yeah, in a noir futurist setting. And every 5 minutes, someone comes out of a closet with a gun.
Rim comes out of the closet. Rim comes out of the closet.
So anyway, my thing of the day, other than the fact that it was weird to see Robert Redford looking young and kind of Brad Pittish. I'm used to seeing him very old. is a time waster on Wikipedia. This will take about an hour of your life away. It is the Wikipedia page that lists confidence tricks. So if you've ever heard the term pigeon drop, or the Spanish prisoner, or the wire, or the pig in the poke, or the badger game, you'll learn all about them, and there's a lot of links to follow.
You could learn everything on the internet.
Yeah, if you've read American Gods, you probably know some of these.
All right, so Rim, you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Have you ever heard of Capricar's operation?
Nope.
All right, you ready? Take any 4-digit number, but the 4 digits can't all be the same. So
I picked 1111. Fine, 1112.
You can't. All right, 1112 is fine. You just can't do 1111.
All right.
Okay, now rearrange the digits, right, to make the biggest number you can make and also the smallest number. So for your number 1112, the biggest number you can make is 2111 and the smallest is 112. Subtract the smaller one from the bigger one.
All right.
What's your result there?
999.
0999.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Take 0999.
Yep.
Right? And repeat Capricar's operation again. So take the biggest thing you can possibly make and subtract from it the smallest thing you can possibly make. So 9990 minus 0999.
8991.
8991. Okay. Do it a few more times.
So if I recurse this, it's going to get me back where I was.
No, not at all. I guarantee recurse it up a few times. Do it just real quick.
All right.
I'll just give you a minute there.
All right.
Eventually, what's going to happen is you will arrive at a number, and once you arrive at that number, you will arrive at that number every time because that number, if you perform Capricar's operation on it, results in itself yet again.
So far, I haven't hit that yet. I've gone through about 4 iterations.
It might take a few more. It will happen.
So is it always the same number? Is that the deal?
It is absolutely always the same number. I've written that number on this piece of paper. How much would you like to bet that I am correct or not?
Well, you see, I'm pretty sure that since you probably just looked this up, that you know the number already, and I trust mathematicians to be accurate. So the smart part of my brain says to bet negative $10. Do you accept my bet?
No.
Oh.
It must be I will bet a positive amount of money that I am correct, and a negative amount of money that you are not. Have you arrived at the number yet?
I don't think so. It's kind of tedious, actually, to do this since I got a microphone in front of me.
But anyway, the number is 6,174.
Uh-huh.
How fucked up is that? So this website explains to you why this is true.
Does it have pictures?
It has many pictures and charts and proofs and tables and graphs, and it's actually pretty incredible. And it's sort of freaking me out. But why is it 6174?
Why is it pi? Why is it e?
I know, right? But there's something about 6174.
Scott, e to the pi I.
Oh shit!
Oh shit, son!
Oh shit! I think that this is probably the fifth most fucked up thing in math. After e to the pi I is always going to be the winner.
E to the x dx dy secant cosine. Yeah,
but this is mysterious number 6174 by Yutaka Nishiyama, a very smart man.
So you know what? I'll bet if you're ever trying to break into a nerd's locker, 6174.
Whoa!
Oh.
New pin number, everybody.
I believe you mean pin.
Dun dun dun. For the ATM machine.
Yeah.
Dun dun dun.
Automatic ATM machine.
All right, it's meta moment.
All right, so many people saw I uploaded it without much fanfare last night. For a long time, I've been hinting that we may have made a spin-off show that was in production.
And
in
you
the
took
Geeknights labs.
and you took way too long. You said you were gonna have it out weeks ago.
Yep, and I ran into a lot of trouble, partly because all the very high-quality sources that I downloaded in torrents have really washed out color in them. And the YouTube versions and the TV versions have the correct colors. And FFD show, I can use that to convert them to the correct colors, but that was very...
Anyway, the
pain in the
point
ass
is
to do.
that you don't know how to do things quickly.
I was also busy doing other things, like the fact that, I'm scheduling every panel for Kineticon and such.
Yep.
Also, we brought it out kind of right as the pony love was starting to not fade, but falter and slumber and wait for the following season. The updates were drying up, the PMVs were slowing down, and suddenly, oh shit, it's Radio Free Equestria, coming to you live from the Everfree Forest.
Mm-hmm.
Scott and I started a legit My Little Pony video show.
We'll see how it goes.
We have one pilot uploaded last night with very little fanfare. It got a surprising number of video views almost immediately, a lot of positive commentary.
Mm.
So we'll see where this goes. Every other week, probably, to start, the show will go up, and then as soon as I have the production process down, it'll go to every week. And if the pilots are all successful, and you people like this, we will see about making it a much more legit show.
Yeah, we'll see. Plus it depends how long if the show ever ends, it's like, how are we supposed to...
Yeah, of course, many of those Firefly podcasts are going to this fucking day.
I know, right? I don't understand how
It's
that
like, what do you
works.
say?
And also,
Joss Whedon had a bowel movement.
This Harry Potter podcast and shit, too. It's
Yeah,
like,
but there's still Harry Potter stuff.
there's no more books, are there, though?
No more books.
And more movies?
Is there one more movie?
I have
It
no
already came
idea.
out?
I don't know or care about Harry Potter.
I read spoiler sites because I hate Harry Potter writing. I just
Yeah,
can't
we don't.
read it.
I don't like Harry Potter.
But
anyway.
yeah, Radio Free Equestria,
All right.
so check
other,
it out.
Other metas, Kineticon's coming up.
Yep.
How's the e-commerce going there, Rim?
It's going fine. Everything I'm going to ship actually tomorrow.
All right.
Every pending order, and the international order people should tomorrow get invoices, which will start a whole process that hopefully ends up in them getting T-shirts.
All right.
The book club book is still Isaac Asimov's Foundation.
Yep.
The unofficial book club book is still all of the R. Scott Bakker Prince of Nothing books.
Recess, Nerd NYC Recess is Saturday the 18th of June. Game Hack Day is in New York on June 25th and 26th.
Yep.
Just search for Game Hack Day.
We might not be at the recess. We might be doing our own thing.
That doesn't mean you shouldn't go to recess.
However, if you go to recess, and I don't know, maybe if we do our own
Stop
thing.
dragging out this meta moment. I'm trying to just go through it real quick.
Usually
you keep
you're the one
adding
who
all
wants
these.
to add stuff to
You
it.
keep adding all these details. The show's already long.
No, it's not.
It is.
Okay.
Taking
Taking all this time with your ahs and ums and oohs.
I think that's all the meta there is.
Is it all the meta there is?
That's
I got
all the
one
meta
more
we
meta.
need.
Good friend of ours talked about it on a show a while ago, going in a massive, many-mile bike ride with the Team Easy Riders to support the funding to hopefully try to get rid of Lou Gehrig's disease,
Good luck with
aka
that.
ALS.
Good luck with that.
Good friend of ours who also happens to be planning to walk around the world.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to support this at all, I would highly recommend you donate a small amount of money to his cause, or a large amount if you have it.
All right. Do you have a URL for that shit?
Yeah, I'll post the URL.
All right.
Which means you have to go to the site if you want to get the URL, which is also the site that has our awesome forum, which you should join.
Yeah, we're not going to ask you for money for us. Well,
No.
we'll ask for money for other people instead.
Yeah, maybe we'll kickstart if we want to do another show, because one last announcement, Radio Free Equestria is finally going. Once the crank machine is going, we have another show that's in the works. A third show.
We're doing a lot.
We're trying to ramp up the game. Geeknights will always be here, but we reserve the right to possibly make money off of other non-Geeknights things.
They'll still be Creative Commons licensed.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyway,
so it's warm, real warm lately. So we thought we'd talk about computer cooling because we've never actually talked about that specifically.
we talk about overclocking, which I think we covered a lot of cooling
I
topics.
can sum up our overclocking episode. It's no longer a good idea. What the fuck are you doing, you fanboy?
Yeah. Just to sum that up in a couple more sentences.
Unless you're a hobbyist, then go nuts. It's
right?
fine.
It's like if your goal is to just have fun overclocking, well, go nuts, right? But if you want to overclock for performance, that's just a bad idea. Nowadays, there's no reason to. You can just get a better CPU. Also, if you have a normal computer, there's really no reason to ever use anything but the heatsink that comes with the CPU, right? My Intel, every Intel chip I've ever bought comes with a heatsink. That heatsink is perfectly fine. It's quiet. It works. If you're having trouble with it, it's probably because you have a stupid case. And that leads us into the current show.
So let's talk about cases. Pretty much, there is no longer any goddamn reason to get a full tower.
No.
The last full tower I bought was the previous computer I owned. It was this gigantic tower because I put a ton of hard drives in it. I even got to the point where if I wanted to add more hard drives, I was going to put in a second power supply just for the hard drives and RAID them all together. And you know what? By the time I got that going, computer technology moved along so fast it didn't even matter anymore.
Yeah, but nowadays, right, it's like you can move all your hard drives. You only need one hard drive in the computer, probably solid state.
And I would
And
have
you
two.
can put-
I would argue you want two.
You
want
don't-
one solid state drive that usually won't be that big, and you put your OS on it.
Yep.
You need a second hard drive. Just get the biggest fucking cheap drive ever for local storage. Like, I'm editing video. I'm not going to edit video that's all stored on an Ethernet NAS.
No, if you're editing video, put it on the fucking solid state where it's the fastest.
It's not big enough.
Well, you got to get big ones. You got to spend.
A 64 gig one wouldn't be big enough.
If you're not, you got to get the 128 first of all.
Wouldn't be big enough.
Two of them.
Yeah, I'm going to spend that much money.
Why not?
Because
yeah,
the performance gains are actually not big enough to justify that.
they're real big. But
Scott,
anyway,
for the kinds of video editing, you're better
plus
off.
you're editing a video. You just get the whole video in RAM while you're editing. You only write it to disk when you're saving it.
The most RAM I've ever had on a workstation is 24 gigs.
That's enough.
Depends.
The point is that you don't need really that many drives in your computer. You definitely don't need optical drive anymore.
Yeah, well, I'm
right?
saying
And
my
you
big
definitely don't need more
recommendation,
than one video card.
if you're a performance nut, have one solid state drive, just the OS, two cheap hard drives just for like local scratch space working storage. Like I downloaded a bunch of shit, I'm working on it, torrent, whatever. Just make a RAID 0 or a RAID 1, doesn't matter.
And if the drives crash, who cares? You can just replace them cheap.
Yep. And then buy a super cheap NAS. I got a Netgear NAS. I can see it from here. It's got two 2-terabyte hard drives in it, and they're just rated together perfectly.
Yep.
If I lose a drive, just pop another one in, it repopulates. Gigabit Ethernet shared everywhere. It has some problems just because it's consumer grade shit, but
You got to get a higher quality one.
those problems are all related to the administration of the thing, not to the performance of the thing.
Yeah, but anyway, the point is you don't really need a big computer anymore. But a lot of people have taken this to the extreme, and they try to get small computers, right? Well,
Don't get a micro ATX unless you're making a HTPC.
yeah, it's like a lot of, I can understand the desire to get something like, that's Mac mini sized, right? Because small and quiet is just so awesome.
And if you don't need performance, go for that. Just buy the Mac
Right,
Mini.
but you got to keep in mind you can buy the Mac Mini itself, sure.
Yeah.
But if you want to build something really small, make sure you keep it really weak. A lot of people I've noticed, because they can and because they sell these parts, have been putting full power computers inside a very tiny case.
Now, you can do that, but you need to really ramp up the cooling, which is going to make the thing fucking loud, which defeats the purpose of having a computer in your living room. And why else would you want a tiny computer?
Yeah, just get, a mid tower, or just, they have these sort of half-ish mid towers. Those are good enough.
Mid-tower is pretty much what you want, I would argue.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing I used to
It's definitely getting, while it might be a little bigger than, say, one of those like half towery things, which you can still get away with, it's so much easier, even though it's mostly empty air, and the cooling's just going to work, and it's going to be so quiet, and you can still put it underneath your desk where it won't get in the way, so who cares?
Now,
And it's cheap.
I used to also get a full tower because I had a bunch of shit in the front of my computer, like, my DVD drive, my CD burner, my...
No one has any of that shit
my
anymore.
zip drive.
That shit's not, it's just all gone.
You know what's in front of my computer? A $10 DVD burner. It burns every possible format. It's super fast.
And you never use it.
I burned an ISO a month ago to rebuild a server to put Counter-Strike on.
I use USB sticks for that now.
This is a computer you gave me. The USB's broken.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
No.
So.
That's the reason I got rid of that computer.
And you know what? That computer didn't have an optical drive. I had to pull mine out and plug it into that one.
Snap. But anyway.
So, very simply, though, get a mid-tower. Get a reasonable, get like an Intel chip, or even if you get an AMD chip, just use the default cooler.
A lot of people buy like these fancy coolers, coolers that look fancy. They're usually a bad idea, right? They're just bigger and stupider, and they cost extra money, and they probably use more electricity, and they make more noise, whether or not they actually cool the thing down. And also, a lot of people try to excessively cool, right? It's like as long as your CPU is always within the recommended operating temperature, it doesn't need to be any colder. Being colder isn't really going to help you. Right? It's like, my CPU was running at 70, and now it's running at 50. It's like, well, was 70 within the limits? Well, yeah. Well, then what the fuck's the problem?
And also, all right.
It's not going to go faster now.
You're not going to cool it lower.
Because I told you not to overclock.
You're not going to cool it lower than the ambient temperature with a heatsink.
That's right.
So, fans. Get big fans. Big, slow fans are better than small, fast fans any goddamn day.
Yep. Because a big fan
have
right?
one gigantic fan,
or two gigantic fans, one in the front, one in the back.
Well, I got a standard Antec case. It's got two pretty big fans in the front, intake, one gigantic fan in the top, and then it's got the power supply fan. And that's it.
Yep.
You know what? Works great.
The reason gigantic fans are so much better than small fans, right, is because it's all about how many cubic centimeters of air it pushes per unit time.
But
right?
also small fans, they can push the same amount of air.
But that means they have to spin faster.
Which means they're louder.
Yes.
And they wear out faster.
Loudness is almost entirely determined by what the RPMs are. So a big fan at low RPM pushes the same amount of air at a small fan at higher RPM, which is why a bigger fan is better because it can provide the same amount of cooling with less noise and less spinach. Right? So big fans always win.
If you can, and you have a case and a CPU and a motherboard, well, not CPU, but a motherboard that supports it, use dynamic fans and then set the hardware switches as low as they can go.
Yeah.
My fans speed up if my computer is actually overheating.
Yep.
It's pretty easy to set that up. Just actually read the documentation. Don't bother with the additional side blowhole whale fan unless your case is overheating. Like, for example, if you have a gigantic set of video cards or something.
Yeah, and you shouldn't really have those because they're a waste of money. But then again, if I won a lottery and I was building a computer, I might be tempted to get like 4 NVIDIAs.
Or, for
just
example,
because.
so
Who
get
cares?
this.
I got so much money.
Working with video, right? If I am rendering a video for Radio Free Equestria, it took about an hour to render that, right? My computer heated up substantially, and hot air was blowing uncomfortably out of the area where my computer is. And it could have caused a problem if I was rendering 100 things in a row over a weekend while I was out of town.
Yep.
So I'm thinking about getting the side fan, but only get the side fan if you need it because it's going to add loudness.
A lot of loudness.
And loudness is the thing I care about more than almost anything.
Yep.
Arrange your cables.
Yeah, a lot of people, they don't know how to arrange the cables properly, and it can sometimes be tricky depending on what parts you get, how long their cables are, what your case is like.
It's a pain in the ass. It'll take you forever, and if you're not good at it, you're probably going to have to tear it all out and do it again after you're done.
And this is another reason for the mid-tower, because while the mid-tower, you don't need all that space for the actual computer, because your computer's going to be like a tiny speck inside that big box. That gives you a lot of places to hide and squish and stow all these cables that aren't being used and are just getting in the way for much more efficient cooling, right? So that's why you get the mid-tower, even if your computer could fit in something like half or a quarter of the size.
Luckily, it's becoming moot because no one needs, serial ATA cables anymore. Well, parallel ATA cables.
Yeah.
And serial ATA cables are tiny.
Yeah, it used to be that you needed ribbon cables.
Or if you were fancy, you'd break a ribbon cable up and then band it together.
It's mostly all about the power supply cables. And
I know. We really need a better solution.
Well, there are some power supplies where you could
Fuck that. You know what I want? I want there to be a standard, like ATX, for cases where cases include buses.
Yeah.
You slide the power supply in. There are bus bars and wires in the case. You slide the hard drive enclosure in. It has ports for the power for the hard drives, just built in. Why the fuck don't we have that? It's 2011.
Because it would, because it's it's less flexible when you do it that way, right?
Wait. How is it less flexible, though?
So let's say you have a slot for a hard drive, right? Well, it's an SATA hard drive, so it's got the SATA plugs. But what if I want to put it? What if I have a regular old hard drive?
Fuck you.
My motherboard supports it.
Fuck you.
Yeah, you see, this is where there are
No,
problems.
you leave a legacy port in the bottom or something. Or
Right,
you know
so now
what?
there's a useless slot in my computer. I want to add another
Scott,
SATA, but there isn't one.
It was not that long ago. My computer had an ISA slot.
I'm just saying, it's like now I've got one more SATA drive, but my case has a built-in non-SATA slot in it.
Also, if you make the standard to start, then people start supporting it, and eventually you get to the point where everything does it, then you just drop the ISA slot.
I'm just saying is that, it's
I'm just saying that
significantly less
power
flexible.
distribution inside of consumer PCs that are built by nerds has not gotten better in 20 years.
No, not really.
And it's
There were the power supplies that let you remove the cables you weren't using, but those, for some reason, never caught on.
Now, the only reason I'm not super mad about it is that in the old days, I'd open my computer up surprisingly often for various reasons.
Yep.
I haven't reopened my computer down there since I built it.
Mm-mm.
Times have changed, and they're better. So there's no market for what I just said. But if I were like Dell or Gateway, well, I guess Gateway. If I was Dell, I would do that on my own for my own PC.
Well, they basically sort of do, right?
Yeah, they do a lot of good stuff,
If
but they have not gotten to the point of integrating bus bars with the case.
No, I think it's just not economical.
No, but it might be in the long run. I could make a case for it, I think.
Anyway, the other thing, right, is that it's all about you want to have more intake. People always think about exhaust fans. Like this hot air, I got to push it out of the computer. Well, no, you also need to bring in the cold air.
Now, bringing in air is better for two very obvious reasons. One, if you put filters on your intakes, there's no dust in your computer now if you have positive pressure.
Yeah, positive pressure is more important than filters, right? So,
no, because if you have positive pressure and filters,
you're all set.
No dust gets in. If you have positive pressure and no filters, your computer is still going to fill with dust. But if you have negative pressure, the dust is going to be sucked in through your optical drive that you hardly ever use, and the one time you put a DVD in it, it's not going to work because it's covered in dust.
Yeah, so it's all the reason, dust in your computer probably won't actually ruin your computer, but what it will do is it'll make it'll get in the fans, it'll get on the heat sinks and make them cool less efficiently. So
But if you have negative pressure and no filters, and you don't have any optical drives or anything, it is arguable that there is no effective difference.
Yeah, so positive pressure, what that means is that the air pressure inside your case, right, is greater than the air pressure of the room, so greater than 1 atmosphere, right? You do this usually by having intake fans that are bringing in a lot more air than the exhaust fans are exhausting out, right? You still need exhaust fans in the areas where the air is the hottest, like right near the CPU, to blow out the hottest of airs in the computer. But the intake fans are bringing in cool air, probably from the front of your computer, just the air in your room. So they're bringing in room temperature air, which is going to be cooler than what's in the computer. So if they bring in more room temperature air, then the hot air that you're blowing out, that's going to keep the temperature low. And also the fact that the inside the case, the pressure is higher than it is outside the case, dust can't get in because there's basically air, all the seams in your computer, because it's not airtight, right? All the seams all around the optical drive, all around the edges of the case, air is going to be getting pushed out. Sort of like when you stand next to a doorway and the room on the other side has different pressure and there's like a wind coming out of this cracked open doorway. Your case will be like that, and dust won't get inside, which is totally awesome. And if you don't have that, you did it wrong.
Dust will get in through the main fans intaking air if you don't have filters on them.
Yes, obviously. But the point is, if you set it up right, there won't be any dust in your computer. Hot air will be getting pushed out, cold air will be getting pushed in. It'll be totally awesome.
Now,
if you have negative pressure, you fucked up.
If you don't have the discipline to clean your filters, don't bother with filters. Just once a month, open your computer and just air dust it all out.
Yep.
That's mostly it. I mean, don't put your computer in a cupboard.
Yeah.
Don't smoke in your house ever. You'll ruin your computer.
Yep. Now there's also
don't bother with any weird fancy cooling.
Well, yeah, water cooling, right? So water cooling, if you do make it work, it is kind of cool because it makes no noise.
Yeah, do it well.
And
see,
it keeps everything.
People say it makes no noise, but most people I've seen, it makes no noise except for the pump.
Yeah. Well, you can get some of these, quiet pumps, and I've seen water cooling systems where you maybe hear it sounds like a fish tank. It's a quiet bubbling. It's actually soothing.
Yeah.
Or I've heard completely quiet ones as well.
You can try like heat pipe things, and you can do fancy cool
there's
stuff.
Lots of stuff that you can do, and it actually works.
But again, they're really only do these things if you're a hobbyist.
Exactly.
Or
if
you have
you're
a
making,
very, very specific need.
if you're
Like,
making
say-
case mods, right?
Or like say you're making a computer that's going to be inside of a recording studio for whatever reason, and it has to be as quiet as possible. So you set up a water cooling rig where the pipes come from outside the room, cool it, and go back outside the room.
yeah, even recording studios don't do that shit. They just get really quiet.
Yeah, but it depends on what you're doing.
I've never heard of a recording studio doing that.
Well, usually you're not going to have a computer in there anyway.
Yeah, but the thing is that if there are reasons to do water cooling, especially if just you want to do it for fun, you go for
like
it.
the liquid nitrogen,
But
and immersion and all that. It's fun and silly, but don't.
It's not for any practical purpose. It's completely pointless and unnecessary because there is no consumer computer that you can't cool with just normal old fans and heat sinks in a good case. Right? The old water cooling is only necessary if you're doing something really fancy or you just want to do it for the sake of it. Now, that covers, computers that people have that, they bought. And
Yep.
of course,
Like
most people, if you buy laptops, you don't have to think about this at all.
No, laptops, you have to think about one thing. One, dust your goddamn laptop.
And don't cover the fan with anything.
Yep, don't put it on your rug or your Afghan and try to use it.
Yeah, it's pretty much it. It's, a well-designed laptop is going to cool itself. Don't buy a piece of shit laptop that has problems because there's nothing you can do to fix it, really. Just don't. If you buy a crappy laptop and they designed it poorly, you can't fix it.
So one last thing, it's mostly for quietness. Don't buy a cheap PSU. They're way louder than the better ones. Just do your research and find what people say and find the quietest PSU you can find.
Yeah.
But the PSU is a fan. It counts as an output fan. So if you're designing a case, you want positive pressure, don't forget that the PSU is drawing power out of your case.
Yep, most of the PSUs, though, have adjustable fan speeds on them nowadays. At least all the ones I've bought recently have little knobs to control the power supply fan speed, and the motherboard actually has ways of controlling the PSU fan speed as well.
So let's talk a little bit, as you were alluding to enterprise cooling.
Yeah,
because IT people need to know this shit.
Yep, I mean, everyone always, thinks about cooling their computer in their house, right?
Yeah,
because that's what nerds do, and that's what they talk
anytime
about.
You've got a server, it usually needs to be about 20% cooler.
Right, but when you've got, it's not just, a server. Right? Having a server, it's mostly the same as consumer cooling, right? But it's all about when you're doing enterprise stuff or at a business, you've got racks. You've got a lot of servers in the same exact room with not a lot of space between them, and it's usually a small room, which means that even though each computer might be designed well for cooling individually, the room itself is like a secondary case, and that room, all the hot exhaust comes out of the computers into that room and into the intakes again, and basically the whole room heats up, and now you've got a problem because how can you cool something with intake fans that are bringing in air that is basically almost as hot as the air that's being exhausted, and you're fucked.
Now, I was very lucky in my career that I started at IBM, and I actually very rapidly came to manage a relatively small raised floor, traditional data center. So I learned all this stuff a long time ago, and the vast majority of data centers you ever run into, at least for the foreseeable future, will be exactly as I described. So if you're an IT guy or you're just a guy who wants to know about this stuff, I'm going to, in maybe 5 or 6 minutes, tell you everything you need to know about cooling data centers. Now,
Air conditioners.
we can't talk about the fancy, like Facebook's data centers or Google's data
Well,
centers.
actually, Facebook's data centers are completely open source, and you can totally see videos of them and diagrams of them online. And if that's your interest, go for it.
There are very cool upcoming emerging technologies about data centers.
Yeah, basically, there are certain data centers in the world that are so big, and the people running them are so technologically apt that they actually, if they can save like 1 bit of energy, it's because they're so gigantic that saves them a ton of money. So they push the envelope of efficiency of cooling and power usage in their data centers as far as it can possibly go. But the vast majority of data centers aren't like that. They aren't run by Google or Facebook or someone who's so big.
So here, to make a good analogy for people who might be more code inclined, the super future far out data centers, that's the equivalent of writing like a Pyramids web app, like bleeding edge, brand new, barely documented shit.
Most data centers all generally follow the same sort of, tried and true best practices of cooling.
Even Google
because
stuff
the people who run
would be
them,
like the level of Django. Like, all right, kind of fancy, but used in a lot of places.
Well, Google does stuff like those, data center in a shipping container stuff.
Yeah, which is actually not super out there.
It's still pretty fancy. It's fancier than normal stuff.
But the vast majority of data centers are, all right, you've got Apache running, serving up static pages.
Yep.
So you're going to have a raised floor. If you don't have a raised floor, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. There's...
A raised floor is basically like the reverse of a drop ceiling, right? So you know, a drop ceiling is when you have all these ceiling tiles, and if you push a ceiling tile out of the way, you go, oh, look, the ceiling's actually much higher than the ceiling that I see. There's a ceiling in front of the ceiling.
Yeah, you basically got floor tiles, and under that is between 1 and 4 feet of space.
Yeah, so it's like there's a floor, and you can actually open the floor, and then there's room under the floor before there's the real floor.
Now, we're going to skip all the, other stuff about raised floors, because frankly, I think we could do a show on raised floor data center management. At least I could. But skip all that.
Boring as hell. We're going to do a show about floors that are above floors.
Actually, I got a lot to say, because it's... these are useful IT skills that people don't fucking know in the real world, and it drives me crazy.
Yeah, because almost no one has a raised floor.
To just talk about cooling, you'll have huge units, usually, that pump cold air under the floor. So the floor is kind of fairly highly pressurized cold air, just being pumped in, high pressure, just zzz.
Yep.
And you'll have rows of servers. You spread everything, and you break it up into hot aisles and cold aisles. So you've got a rack, a line of racks, 100 racks all in a row.
That's a cold aisle.
Well, no. It separates. It's basically the wall between 2 aisles.
Oh.
The servers are all side by side, top to bottom in racks. The servers and the 2 aisles that are next to each other, the fronts of the servers face each other. So all the fronts of the servers on the left rack are facing in, and all the servers on the right rack are facing in. So if you stand in the middle of this aisle, any direction you look, you're going to see the fronts of servers or more aisle.
Mm.
That's a cold aisle.
Because all the intake fans are on the fronts of the servers. So they're all the servers are intaking the cold air from the cold aisle.
So in front of every rack is a floor tile that has holes in it. Cold air comes up, and the servers suck it in. So every other aisle...
You think, why would the cold air go up? Because cold air sinks and hot air rises. Well, it's because the cold air is pressurized. So it's actually being squeezed out of those holes in the floor and being shot up in front of the servers.
So the air goes through the servers, which are all, rack units. So they're long, thin servers, and the air comes out the back. The next rows are hot aisles, the next aisles, and all the backs of servers are facing these. So all the hot air that has already cooled these servers down and has now the server heat in it comes into those aisles.
And it goes up because
it goes up and away.
Yep, you have vents or some sort of, drop ceiling with basically the reverse of the cold floor is up there. Maybe you send that air out of the building. Maybe you send it back to an air conditioner. It's usually easier to send it out of the building, and the air conditioner, because an air conditioner to cool the hot air would be more energy than to just cool new outside air. Which is already colder than the the heated up air from the CPUs.
So when you're building a rack, just fill it. Just fill it with servers, and more importantly, any spot in your rack that doesn't have a server, put a faceplate to block. Kind of like how on your PC, you put a faceplate to block those 5.5-inch bays that you never use.
Yeah, because if you don't put a faceplate to block, then some of the cold air from the cold aisle will just shoot straight through the hot aisle, getting completely unused.
If you have racks, put sides on your racks. Don't put doors on the front that don't let the air in.
Yeah, I've seen those racks with doors, and it's like, what the fuck
are
they
thinking?
Every
rack has doors, but the thing is you have doors where either they have vents in the side where the air gets in, or the fronts of the rack are actually over a hole. So there's a door, and the cold air is coming up through the inside between the door and the fronts of the servers.
Yeah. Sometimes, though, you do want a door, because what you'll have is you have a rack unit that doesn't actually have servers, that has, one of those little terminal bits or something like, some of those kinds of things.
I could go into all those details, but I'll save that for the raised floor data center management show.
Yeah, that's...
But the key is, don't put holes in the hot aisles. Only put them in front of the servers in the cold aisles. Put faceplates in your racks. Fill your racks if possible. Don't block the intakes with anything.
Yep.
That's really all there is to it. If the air conditioning unit fails, call somebody. Don't just let it stay failed. Don't turn it off because it's loud.
Yeah.
I wish that wasn't the advice I felt I needed to give.
Yeah, but big data centers, they do things pretty differently. Like most of what the advancements you'll see is like instead of using regular old air conditioners and back up regular old air conditioners, they'll have some sort of other cooling system, that pumps the cold air into the cold aisles.
Or they'll have more directed flow. Like
something like, they'll use like misters and fans
swamp coolers.
Yeah, or heat pumps or all sorts of different ways of making the air cold that's more more energy efficient
or
than
directed flow.
old
like you
school
have,
air conditioners.
Like you have ducts coming up out of the floor that basically direct feed the cold air to the individual servers in your rack.
Yep.
Cool things like that.
A lot of people have tried. Sometimes, it's like the aisles won't actually have any air, and what they'll do is all the racks will actually be sort of sealed from all the sides, but not the top and the bottom, and they'll pump cold air directly into the bottom of the racks, which are sealed, right? So the cold air doesn't go into the aisle. It only goes into the area where the servers are, right? And then the cold air is underneath the servers heat it up, and it rises out. And they'll put the fans on the bottom and the top of the servers instead of in the front and the back. All kinds of people try all sorts of weird things.
So last important thing there, too cold is just as bad as too hot.
Well, yeah, obviously.
A lot of people keep their data centers way colder than they should because if it's too cold, one glitch in the humidity and you get condensation. That's the fucking end.
Yeah, humidity is something, you don't really have to think about when you're just, a normal person with consumer hardware. But humidity in a data center, it's like it could be a serious problem.
If it's too cold, condensation. If it's too hot, overheating. If it's too dry, static problems.
Yeah, if you're cooling just your computer, condensation is probably not going to become an issue, right? But if you're cooling a whole room with air conditioners, it's very possible that it could basically, the whole room is a refrigerator, and it can condensate very easily. And you're in big trouble. Computers and water are not fun.
This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geeknights is not one, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.